Hey there, everybody. Thanks for checking out my other videos. Thanks for coming back to this one. I don't know if this one's going to be too exciting, not too much to look at, but I just wanted to talk about one of my other projects I'm doing. I talked before about my project of getting at least one card from as many vintage sets as possible. Another one that I'm doing is getting every card featuring a Hall of Famer on Topps cards, not like the Topps traded or anything like that. The main Topps set, primarily from the 80s and the 70s, but that includes if a guy has their regular card, an all-star card, or if they're on a leaders card. I guess I'll get into it a little bit. I'm keeping track of what I have for the 50s and 60s, but I don't know if it's realistic that I would ever finish those because of the cost, obviously. So I kind of had the idea to do this. Again, I've mentioned him a few times, from Baseball Collector Mike, who does the Golden Age of Cardboard podcast. He, if I'm stating it correctly, is doing a similar thing, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and all PSA graded cards. Mine will be almost exclusively ungraded cards when I do this. He's big into the PSA registry and all that. I'm not. But to start off, when I wanted to do this, I looked up, okay, how am I going to know all the cards that exist? So probably I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know, but on the PSA app, or probably their website, you can search for different registries. And I did use their registry as like my checklist, basically. So at first I had trouble finding it. So if you want to look up all the Hall of Fame cards, you got to do it by decades. There's one list for the 80s, one for the 70s, and so on. And I was searching there in their search bar on Hall of Fame, and I wasn't getting anywhere. So you have to search HOF. That's how I did it anyways. HOF, and then you'll see something that says 80s decade HOF Topps or something with most of those words in it. And same for the 70s, 60s, 50s. So it's, you click see checklist, all the cards are there. Mostly. So the cards are mostly there. I noticed a few guys who were recent Hall of Fame inductees. I can't remember off the top of my head now. Their cards weren't added in yet, at least when I was making my list. Because I took that list from PSA, typed them all into Excel for myself, and put the year, the card number, who it was, card number, and then a column for whether I have it or I need it. So some recent Hall of Fame inductees weren't in there, just a couple of them. And then I've come across cards like a World Series highlight card that has Johnny Bench in the picture. I count that as, hey, Johnny Bench is in the picture and he's on there. And I think it's pretty inconsistent on the PSA checklist that some of those are included and some of them aren't. So on my Excel sheet, I've had to add in several cards for each decade that weren't listed on the PSA thing. So I guess it's an inexact science as far as what counts as every card. The only things I haven't added in, so it's not in my Excel sheet or PSA, is like team cards, like a team card where it has a picture of the whole team. So there's probably some little tiny picture of Rickey Henderson or whoever with the A's. It's not on the PSA list, and it didn't even occur to me to add those, so I'm not counting those as cards of those Hall of Famers. Maybe I should. I don't know. It's my project of doing it. So anyways, when I heard Mike talk about it, I figured, I collected throughout the 80s. I wonder how close I am to being done with the 80s already, just with my old card from when I was a kid. So I typed in the whole list from PSA's set registry checklist and went through all my cards, and I was going to bring my computer over, show a spreadsheet. It's kind of pointless. I can just explain it. So if you know how to use Excel and you have column with I put an X if I have it. I write need if I need it. Do a little formula, and it'll tell me how many I have, how many I need, and the percent. So the 80s, when I did all this a few months ago, just from when I was a kid, I was at like 97% or something. So the 80s was mostly getting pretty cheap cards. You know, you get a 82 Gaylord Perry, it's not that expensive or whatever. So I was just filling in some things like that. The only one that I needed that was a big card, I guess it's probably about the most expensive card of the 80s and tops, perhaps, I could be forgetting something, is the one you're looking at right there, Rickey Henderson. Even as a kid, I was envious of people. Oh, you have the Rickey Henderson rookie. I never got it out of a pack, never traded for it, never bought it later on, never had it until about a week ago when I got it in the mail. So this was the big one. It's a little dinged up on there. Got a little scuff sort of on the card there, but it's in good condition for me. It was relatively inexpensive, I think, with shipping, tax, everything. It was under $25, so I was pretty happy with that. So I got that one, and I'm waiting on a batch of cards from Sport Lots. I don't want to get into how to use Sport Lots, but if you need cards that are like kind of low-end cards, you know, and then you get to like a little bit higher priced cards that are maybe $3 on eBay. It seems like I see them for $5 on Sport Lots, but cards that are $1 on eBay, you get them for like 20 cents on Sport Lots. So I've been using Sport Lots a lot for some of the lower end cards. So once I get that batch in, I think I will have every single 1980s card featuring a Hall of Famer, or very darn close to it, except I just saw, sometimes I see, oh wait, this is exception, this variant or something. I think it's in the 88 or 89 set, a Turn Back the Clock with Tony Oliva. There's a variant, one that has the copyright information on the back and one that doesn't. And it seems like the one that doesn't is pretty hard to find. And right now I'm not paying $20 on eBay for that variant. So other than that variant, I think I'll have all the 80s cards. So once I realized that I was pretty close to finishing that, I was like, hey, what about the 70s? I had some 70s cards as a kid. I didn't have either of these. You know, I had a lot of 77 through 79 and a handful of earlier cards. In my new collecting days, I had already started getting some 70s cards. So by the time I put together a spreadsheet for the 70s, I should have looked at the numbers. I think I was at 30%, somewhere around 30% of the way done. And over the last few months, got some like lots of cards on eBay, just going to the local shop, looking for bargains basically. And I think I'm getting up close to 60% of the 1970s cards of every Hall of Famer. So a lot of the ones I need are still pretty low dollar cards. I don't have the early 70s Nolan Ryans, are going to be expensive, and a few other of the early 70s cards that I can't think of right now are going to be the pricey ones, but it should be rather doable over time. So again, I get a card in, I change it from saying need, because I don't need it anymore, I put an X. My spreadsheet will automatically tell me how many more I need, what percent. It's fun to see that percent go up. So I figured, hey, I have some 60s cards, I have some 50s cards, why not do that too? So again, I kind of just do that as I can. I even, if you know, a manager, well, Gil Hodges, I don't know, some of these guys, I don't know if they're considered being in the Hall of Fame as a manager or a player, but like say Sparky Anderson, he's definitely in as a manager, but I still want to get his player cards because he's a Hall of Famer and those are his cards. So Tommy Lasorda, same thing, you know. So anyways, this 1960s, again, there's still a lot of Hall of Fame cards, especially if you get them in not the top grades that are reasonably priced. So the 1960s, I think I started, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe I'm like 25 or 30% of the way there now. So a long way to go. There's hundreds and hundreds of cards I need, and I'm talking Mantles and Mays and Nolan Ryan rookie and Johnny Bench rookie. So, you know, one day maybe, but I'm not. Once I finish the 70s, I think the 60s will just, I'll get what I get. And the same goes with the 50s. The 50s is even lower. I think I have like 5% of the Hall of Fame cards, and most of those are smaller name guys. So, you know, it's fun to keep track of it. I don't have any kind of idea that I'm going to ever finish that because I just don't have the budget for that. So, I like crunching numbers and seeing where I'm at. So that's one of my other projects, which is fun to do. Hopefully I explained that pretty clearly, and please, if you have questions, leave a comment. I kind of glossed over a lot of things, but I kind of glossed over a lot of things that other people have known for years and aren't really any kind of secrets or anything. But anyways, it's fun to collect, try to finish these sets. I love seeing cards of guys like Catfish Hunter. I had Catfish Hunter cards as a kid from the late 70s, and I remember these guys like that as an older player. So it's really fun getting cards from the 60s of Catfish Hunter and Gaylord Perry and Carl Yastrzemski, the guys that were old time, old, close to retiring when I was a kid. So that's it. And the next time I will either do one of my other projects I'm working on or another subject. I'm not sure. Thanks for watching.